I'm afraid that Windows 10 has reached the end of life. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I've made the decision. I must upgrade to Windows 11. Is there anyone here that wishes to join me?
I'll do it. I too shall install Windows 11.
You're very brave. Thank you.
The rest of you must leave.
I would also like to install Windows. Please, sir, let me install Windows.
This is a mission you don't come back from. Stay with Windows 10 and enjoy your life.
Yes, sir. Long live Microsoft.
And we're just syncing audio right now. We've started recording screen. Okay. We should be good. So, I wanted to make a side-by-side comparison of Windows 10 and Windows 11. And most people do the what do you call it? They're in Windows 11 and then they complain about it and all that stuff. I haven't seen really someone having Windows 10 and Windows 11 right next to each other, except for people that do speed tests, and I don't really care about that. So what I have here is, you can't see it directly. On my left, I have a Windows 10 PC, which is a 4th Gen i5, 4-core, with a GTX 1070 that is for another project. And it has a fresh Windows 10 setup. To my right, I have my personal current GPU test bench, which is a very old system. It's an X58 Xeon 5650, I believe, 6-core 12-thread, which actually does not support Windows 11, but it's on there anyway. And the reason why I'm using that Windows 11 versus a newer system is because I wanted to see what it's like to run Windows 11 on the older system, because people are so afraid to do that. And so I have a monitor on my left, a monitor on my right. I have a keyboard and a mouse and another keyboard and another mouse, so I can drive both at the same time. And so it's going to be a little awkward at first, but I think we'll get into it. The Windows 11 install is fairly fresh. I've been using it for 30 days. I haven't used Windows 10 for more than a month. And I think that kind of, if you use Windows 10 every day and then you use Windows 11, it's a little weird, right? I haven't used Windows 10 in so long, I kind of forgot what it was like. So what I did was I said, I'm going to wait 30 days, daily drive the Windows 11, and then go back and look at Windows 10 again from the perspective of someone who's already been using Windows 11, and kind of get a little, I know what to expect, but we're not testing performance here. This is not about gaming. What I'm just looking at is what's the difference. If someone had Windows 10 and they upgraded to Windows 11, or they bought a new computer and it came with Windows 11, what are the things that they're going to see? What's going to be the instant reaction? And of course, it would have been nice to do this when I first installed Windows 11, but I didn't make videos back then. So let's get started. So we have the Windows 10 on the left, fairly fresh. I was going to use my personal Windows 10 install, but I wiped it because that installation is more than 3 years old. and it's full of crap and stuff, you know, so it's kind of not a fair comparison, I think. And then the Windows 11 on the right here. So let's start by looking at the version of these. So here's Windows 11 or Windows 10. This is going to be very confusing, I can tell you right now. So here's Windows 10. There's the specs. And here's Windows 11. Now you should know that the Windows 11 version is 21H2, which is an older version, simply because I don't want to update it. This drive that I use it from has a legacy patch or something, and I'm not sure how even they did that. I mean, I know how to do it, but I'm not sure what they did to it. And it has a key and it's activated, so I don't want to lose that, so I'm just leaving it the way it is. But I'm sure there's a newer version of that by now. So 22H2 on the Windows 10 side, 21H2 on the Windows side, Windows 11. Okay, so now let's compare features. And I don't have a script or a list. I was thinking about doing that, but it's just, I don't know. I want my actual reaction, like, you know, right as it happens. So Windows 10, let's go back to Windows 10. So we have the original start menu here. We have the search bar here. We have, you know what, I actually never really used this feature. The tab, is that where you can, oh, I see. You can change different things. So now there's Copilot, which I've never seen before on Windows 10. And then Edge, and then Mail, and File Explorer. Then you have Weather, which I'm used to. You have the thing, I forgot what that's called. The view, the Meet button. Never use that. That's the updates one, Wi-Fi, sound, calendar, and notifications. Now let's look at the same thing on the Windows 11 side. And appearance is going to be the major difference here. So Windows 11, you have this now. The start menu, as you, I'm sure, well aware, is in the middle. The taskbar and everything is in the middle, and that's because this was meant to be used with also touchscreens, so it should be in the middle, not on the left. And people hate that, but it makes sense. So now you have, instead of on the left, there's no start menu, you have the widgets. Now personally, I like this. I think they had something like that on Windows 11. But here's the thing, so you're in Windows 11. Okay, let's say you're doing whatever, browsing, trolling YouTube, I don't know. There's gonna be important notifications in this corner. So I've noticed, I haven't paid too much attention to it because I don't sit there on the computer all day. But I have noticed that it will show you things that you need to know in the corner. Specifically weather. See how it says heat warning? I've seen other notifications like wind advisory. I assume that's customizable. It would be nice actually if the actual temperature was shown. On Windows 10, it shows the temperature all the time on the right side, and then it has the forecast, and then there's a notification thing. Oh wait, there it is. Okay, so it changes. Okay. See, I haven't used it enough to know. That's good. Okay, so it changes. So it's nice for that to just be in the corner while you're doing your things. And then if you hover over it, you get all the widgets, they're called. So see there's a football game starting, there's stocks that are crashing, there's this. And I guess I have never configured this, but I guess you can get rid of some of these. And then eventually it'll have all your personal stuff there. So that's nice. Now this is the thing, if that's constantly updating, that's eating your performance, and that's probably why some people don't like that. So that's the widgets. So now it's on the left instead of the right. And then what else do we have here? So we have, if we go to the right side, let's go back to Windows 10. We have the calendar, which I don't use really. Not too many people synchronize their calendar in Windows, I don't think. So that's not a big deal. You just have the time and the date. If you were to add appointments, they would show up, but I don't see a lot of people doing that. Your notifications thing is here, and that's where I thought they had widgets in here, but it's not there anymore. I remember there being some sort of widget thing. So here's the weather. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is the widgets. It's the same thing. But see, it doesn't look as good. That's what I'm used to. And then the same thing, you can get rid of things you don't like and eventually get a customized experience. Now let's try to hover over it. Yeah, okay, the hover works. It's in a weird spot. It's not in the corner. But on the Windows 11 side, it's right in the corner where the start menu used to be. So yes, you can move the start menu back to the left if you want. I'm not going to do that because we just have to learn how to be this way. If we keep trying to be how we were before, we're never going to, go forward. So I'm just living with it. In fact, I now that I've been using it for a month, it's fine because when you're on the browser, you just go down to the start menu instead of having to go all the way to the left. And that's just a personal preference. It doesn't matter. It can be on the right, it can be on the top. That's just a personal thing. But technically, the distance from the center of the screen to the bottom is shorter than all the way to the left. So that's okay. Now, let's look at going back to Windows 10 now. Search bar. So you basically just type in something, I guess, and I don't know what we would search for. I don't use it that much. Now it should be said that this search bar, it connects to being in Microsoft Edge. So if you're not a Chrome user specifically, if you typed in how to make a recipe, it would pull up in Bing and then it would go to Edge and then it would show you the video or whatever. But I don't think a lot of people use Edge anymore. Now let's go to the search bar in Windows 11. So it's more visual. And this is the thing where people are saying that Microsoft is data collecting because the more you search for stuff, the more personal this is going to get. I haven't searched for very much, so that's why it's kind of generic right now. You can see what I searched for recently. So, also, not related to 10 or 11, but Bing actually pays you for searching, so that's my points. When you get to enough points, you get Amazon gift cards. I don't use that for current searches. I use it for kind of when you're searching for something stupid. and I've been doing that for a while. You don't make much. I probably have received over the years $50 in gift cards over 5 years. So yeah, it doesn't really make you money, but it's nice to have. And then this, they have this here, which is, I think, chat. Oh, that's the Teams. So if this was a work computer, or you worked for a company that uses Teams, I guess that's where you would talk to your coworkers. Not sure how to get rid of that. Maybe you have to uninstall it. Okay, now let's do Windows 10. Let's right click on the start menu. So you have apps and features, power options, system, device manager, disk management, PowerShell, which is the terminal command prompt. I'm not sure why they changed the name. And then you have these things. So it looks kind of tame here. Now let's go to Windows 11, right click on the start menu. Basically the same. The corners are rounded. And oh look, the stock is crashing. So there seems to be a bit of a graphical element here to Windows 11, which could cause some issue if you're putting this on an older computer. I'm not sure how many people use Windows Mail though. I used to use it. Now you get so many emails. If you use Windows Mail, you're going to get a notification every 5 seconds. So let's go back to Windows 10 and let's right click on the desktop. So you have personalized display settings. Right click, go back to Windows 11. So now there's these icons. Terminal. See, everything has an icon now. And again, with the ability for this to be on a tablet of some sort or a touchscreen laptop, they have to have icons because some people won't be able to quickly read the text. Now here's the part that got me about Windows 11. When I first used it, if you right click on something, so let's say this, I go, where is cut and paste? It's gone. And what are all these things? Copy as like, took me half an hour, I think. I go, oh, that's cut. The scissors. That's paste. Or no, that's, wait, that's copy. Okay. Then there's rename. Then there's share. And there's the trash can. So all of that used to be in here. So now let's go back to Windows 10, do the same thing. See, everything's here. Cut, copy, delete, rename. There's no share button. Share to Skype. I don't even have Skype. Send to is probably share. So this part right here is pretty ancient. I mean, this is, yeah, I say Windows 11's got it a little more modern, at least. Now there is a way to turn this off so you're not using the little icons anymore. I would probably do that. It's only because they're so tiny. When you want to cut, you have to go like this. You have to go way in the corner. And if you don't have a big monitor, that's kind of an inconvenience. But see, if you had a touchscreen, you would just touch the scissors and it would be simple. So yeah, and then when you do, so if you do copy, and then now there's a paste, so that's the little clipboard. I don't know why clipboard is paste. The rest of the icons make sense, but the paste, it looks clipboard, that wouldn't make sense to anybody. That's why it took me so long to find it. So that's the main thing that I noticed. The recycle bin's a little different. Now it's rounder. And then let's do a memory utilization test. Let's go to Windows 11. I just want to see. Now OBS is running, so that may affect things quite a bit. And let's go to Windows 11, same thing. Performance. Now this is a controversial topic. Just recently, someone said that the memory utilization in Windows 11 is better. I have not heard of that. Most people assumed that if you're using Windows 11 and it's got all these graphical things, you're going to be using more memory. But it's not. Look, 5.6 in Windows 10 out of 16 gigabytes. Windows 11 4.2 out of 12. Now I'm not sure how it does that, and I just read about it today. There's some sort of memory parking or something. I'm not sure what it's called, so I have to research that. So what it's doing, I think if you recall in Windows 10 and Windows 8 and Windows, Windows would use all this memory for things that we had no idea. Do you remember people would have only 4 gigs of memory and 4 gigs would be used? And this was years ago. And we would say, what is it using all the memory for? The computer's idle. And it's using it for searching and caching and whatever. Now on the Windows 10 side, this Windows 10 installation has only been used one time. So it's entirely possible that it's using the memory now to do the caching. Because 5.6 is a lot and it's idle. There's no Chrome loaded right now. The Windows 11 one, I've been using that for a month, so maybe it's done doing what it's doing, and so maybe that's why the memory utilization is low. I assume that OBS is taking up a lot of memory because I just checked this 2 days ago and the idle memory usage in Windows 11 was 2.3 gigs. So it's the OBS that's using up the other 2 gigs. So that means we're using 3.5 on Windows 10 and a little more than 2.2 on Windows 11 if there was no OBS screen recording going on. The paging file on the Windows 10 side is 1.6 gig and the paging file on the Windows 11 side is 400, which is interesting. There's a lot more cache on the Windows 11 side. Okay. Anyway, that's what I noticed so far. As far as overall usage, Windows 11 does boot faster for me. It appears to be zippier, but keep in mind that I'm coming from a very, very old Windows 10 installation, which wasn't slow, it was normal to me, but when I went to Windows 11, there seems to be a little snap to it. Now, if you put Windows 11 on a really old computer, which I've done, because this same hard drive this SSD drive that I use on Windows 11, it'll boot in anything. So you could put it in a first gen i5 because it has a legacy installation. I noticed that if you put it on an older computer with no dedicated graphics, just the the onboard, there is some lag when you open the menus because it's graphically intensive, I guess. But there is a setting, there used to be a setting in, let's see, I remember we used to do this back in the old days. It was advanced system settings. Let's see if I can find it. Advanced settings. Got this. Not a lot of people going here, but you can go here and you can turn off all the features. So see all this animate, fade, shadows. If you turn this off, adjust for best performance like this, it's going to get rid of the transparency, it's going to get rid of the rounding of the corners, I believe. I don't want to do it now. I'll do it at the end because I don't want to mess up, it might mess up the screen recording. But that's what we used to do with old Windows installations when the graphics were really slow, is you would just turn off all the effects. Like in Vista, when they had the arrow glass, you could turn that off and it would make it faster. So we'll try that at the end. Anyway, last thoughts, I don't want to take too long. Everybody's afraid of Windows 11, and I put it on, I've been using it for 30 days. I really don't notice a difference because you go into Windows and you load Chrome, most people. You go into Windows and you load Steam. You go into Windows and you load Fortnite. The browser is it. I mean, there's not a lot of people here, I mean, between all of us that are on YouTube and stuff, that are just sitting in Windows doing things. Now, older people, yes, they're poking around and searching for stuff, and they have other apps that they install. But I would just say for the average user, it could be Windows 10, it could be Windows 11, it could be Windows 18, it doesn't matter, because all I'm going to do is load Chrome and load Steam. And so there's been no ill effects that I can see. It's not slower. Seems like to me it's a little faster, but that's just because it has a GPU in it, and it's not a super old computer. It's old. This is a first gen i7 type CPU, but it runs extremely well. I also, when I do test games, I think there might be some sort of difference there. I'm not going to talk about that now, but I feel like they're not running. Either the games got better and my hardware is just too old, or Windows 11 is the culprit, because I started testing games only on Windows 11 since I started doing this, and I don't know, they're just slower all across the board. So I don't know if that's Windows 11 is the problem, or it's just the fact that I'm using an old processor from 12 years ago. So that's my theory. Yes, you can upgrade your old computer from Windows 10 to Windows 11. All you have to do is type in a couple of commands. It will upgrade automatically. You won't check for your TPM and all that stuff. And I have a video about that, I'll link below. Should you do it? I don't think so. I suggest that if you've had Windows 10 for several years, you should just put in a new hard drive with Windows 11. Start over, start fresh. Because it's going to be faster. You don't want to bring all the old stuff with you from Windows 10. Also, should something go wrong with Windows 11 working on the older computers at some point, that's a rumor that when it updates, at some point it's going to stop working because it's going to recognize that you're not on the newer hardware. If you install it on a new drive, you still have your old one. So the day that it stops working, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just put my old one back in. That's it. There's no risk there. But if you upgrade on your drive to Windows 11 and something goes wrong, you could potentially not be able to boot at all, and then you won't have the option to go back to Windows 10. I wish Microsoft would give you like a trial period or even a tutorial, when you first install it, show you where things are, because people are very confused when they first get in, especially older people. Also, there is a free Windows 11 LTSC version if you just want to try it without all the keys and stuff. There's a link for that too in the description. It's good for 90 days. It's like the corporate version of Windows 11. So you could install that on a new drive, play with Windows 11. If you don't like it, just go back to your old drive, and it's free. So that's my experience. I don't see any problem with Windows 11. I'm not going back to Windows 10 for my personal computer. I will still have it, of course, but I have now customers who are going to be upgrading to Windows 11. So the more time I spend in Windows 11, the more time I'm learning and experiencing what the difficulties might be. I have to do it now before it's required. So officially, no more Windows 10 for me. If I run into an instance where I have to use Windows 10, I'll let you know. Until then, have fun, and yeah, we'll see you later.